Hello, hello. It's mid-Saturday. It's been hot out here lately. I wonder, has anyone else been hot, or has it just been me? It is definitely hot. At least where I'm at, it's hot. So, um, I just wanted to, hey Danny, I wanted to come on and ask a question and see just what the general consensus is. So, over the past few weeks, there has been a lot of talk as far as like honorariums and what preachers charge to come preach. For example, just for those of you that don't know, there was the release of Juanita Bynum's Juanita Bynum released, or her rider was released, and in her rider or her contract, hey Angela, hey Gil, in her rider it states that she wanted a minimum of $3,000 deposit. You had to have 4 hotel rooms. Hey Ron, 4 hotel rooms. It said that, hey Janaire, hey Aaron, it said that she needed 4 hotel rooms. Then once you raised the offering, she received 50% of the offering that was raised. And if you were not going to allow her to raise the offering, it said that then they would talk about a flat rate that she would charge you to come. Now, after I listened to a lot of the commentary and the discussion regarding this, I wonder what the public thinks about this. Because in general, we have a problem with anyone asking for anything when it comes to ministry. And then we have called people greedy when they haven't asked for a fraction of what she's asked for. And I get it. Hey, I'm going to call you CR because I don't know what CR stands for. I get it. You know, you're supposed to be doing ministry from your heart, so you're not going to get me to say, you know, what you should or shouldn't do. I'm just wondering, what is the general public having to say about this? Do you think that she deserves what she's asking for? Do you think that preachers should charge to preach? Or do you think they should do this in addition to their full-time job? Do you think, I know as an artist, you know, I sing, I travel, I sing, and you know, sometimes, now I don't have demands like that when I go places. Most of the time I ask people for gas money, some lunch money. Every now and then I'll ask for a specific amount. If this is one case I did ask for a specific amount. They canceled an artist, or an artist canceled an event. The artist contacted me and let me know what they were going to give them. Then when the venue contacted me to ask me to come in as a substitute, they tried to give me they wanted to give me something like $50, but they were going to give the other artist, a lot more. So I asked them if they would just come on up a little higher, near to where they were going to give the other artist, and we would have been okay. So I do believe that business needs to be taken care of. But my question to you all is this okay for what? Like, is it okay what she's asking for? She's asking again for $3,000. She's asking for 4 hotel rooms. She's asking for to split the offering 50-50. And then if you can't split the offering with her 50-50, then actually I think I want to say it was a 70-30 split, but we're going to say 50-50 because it's not right in front of me. And then if you're not willing to do that, hey, Michael, Pastor Johnson, If you're not willing to do that, then she's going to give you a flat rate to have her come in. What are your thoughts on this? Anybody have any thoughts on this? Is this greed? Is she worthy of the hire that she's asking for? I do know the scripture says a workman is worthy of their hire. But do we draw the line on this? Like, what are your thoughts? Because a lot of times people that do ministry on my level, we're associated with people that do ministry on Juanita Bynum's level. For one, she was just speaking or singing as well. She was just preaching. Now, here's how it goes when you are a singer/preacher. They will invite you to preach, but because the general public knows that you sing, the only people that get away with not singing are like super, I hate to call them megastars, but like the household names. So Rance Allen can come and preach and not sing, and everybody will understand that it's probably because they didn't pay him to sing, because they only paid him to preach. But if I showed up, me being Walter, if I showed up and I preached and I didn't sing, they would go to thinking I have a big head or whatever. So it's generally understood that if you invite me to preach, I have to sing. It's generally understood. Now, Juanita Bynum was invited for this event to preach. So it was just to preach. How long is she there, and how many people is there with her for room? So her team, from what I understand, her team consists of 4 people. So each of them got their own room. She was going to be there for, I believe she was only going to preach for one day, but she was there for one day. Why so many rooms? I'm with you, sis, on the why so many rooms, because I'm like, y'all could be bunking rooms. You ain't that doggone luxurious. Why so many rooms? I don't know, sis. I really don't know. But as I was saying, a lot of people on my caliber, we get associated with people on that caliber. Ain't nobody paying me no $3,000 to come nowhere to preach or to sing, but a lot of times I get associated with that because I may ask for a specific amount that is not designed to break. A lot of times it's designed to cover my travel, or it's designed to, the cost that I may ask is definitely not, $3,000. You can live off of $3,000. Some people live off of $3,000 a month. I'm not saying they're living luxuriously, but, give me about 4 speaking engagements a month and I'll be all right if that's what you're going to pay me. But a lot of times people on, again, my caliber get associated with this. And so, we're even feeling backlash because of this now, because people feel some type of way. And so when we go in and ask for our general, what we ask for, now we're being met with a new resistance because this information has been released. And so I was just wondering what the general public thought about this. She did another video, Dr. Spells, or Dr. Davis, I'm sorry. She did another video. Why so many rooms? I hope I answered your question, Janair and Angel. So she wanted so many rooms for her team. Her team was to come out. That's why she wanted 4 rooms. Now, this was 4 rooms in addition to her room. So she gets a presidential suite, is what the writer says. She gets a presidential suite, and then her team is supposed to get the next step down or whatever, room. And there's 4 of those that need to be gotten. I feel some kind of way about her request. God gives the word for free. We need to be careful about pimping God's word. All preachers who preach are worthy of their hire. But I agree with you. And Dr. Davis, I definitely agree that God gives the word for free. I'm not against preachers being paid, but I am totally with you. We got to start putting some caps and limits on this, because it's affecting the overall picture of everything that everyone is dealing with. For example, and I know what I just said didn't make too much sense. When Preachers of LA came out, for those of you that are on here that are not from Southern California, you may watch this replay. I'm in Southern California. When Preachers of LA came out, everybody automatically assumed that all pastors lived like the pastors that were on the TV show. And that's not the case. You know, in many cases in California, the pastor is paying to pastor because the cost of operation is so high. So many pastors, you know, in other states, a lot of pastors are full-time where they can just pastor and that's it. But in California, many pastors have full-time jobs. I, for one, have a full-time job, plus I pastor the church where I pastor, and there's some that don't. But I'm just saying, as a general rule of thumb, most pastors are going to have a side job because the cost of operating is so high in California. I definitely agree that preachers deserve their hire, but I think all the extra demands that are made are, you know, when Preachers of LA came out, it affected us in such a way because then everybody started thinking we lived a lavish life. For example, I drive a Mazda CX-5. If you know what a Mazda CX-5 is, that's not a luxury car. But I got the car after my 2008 Chevy Impala broke completely down. I mean, I rode that thing literally until the wheels fell off. I mean, literally until the wheels fell off. The transmission was gone. And when I got the new car, I was during this whole Preachers of LA thing. And when I got this new car, I automatically received backlash. They thought I had used church money to get the car, and I could really show you that it wasn't church money when I went and got my car. They thought I used church money to get the car because they had saw this TV show, and they thought that he's one of these preachers of LA. And I'm like, do you realize how small your mind got to be to think I'm trying to rob a church to get a Mazda? But we're receiving a lot of backlash. Those of us who are on lesser stages are receiving a lot of backlash because of things like this, and I just want to know what the general public thinks. My only issue is her wanting half of the offering because they paid for her flight and her rooms already. Now, I agree with you, Janelle. To me, it sounds like there's a little greed there. You already getting $3,000 on top of your room, on top of your travel, then your little rooms for your little, whatever you call them, your little assistants or whatever. I think that's a bit excessive. Then to say, if we take up an offering, I want 50% of that. I think that's a little excessive. That's a lot. I'm okay if I'm paying for your room and board, but why am I paying? Why am I giving you? I agree with you. I agree with you, Angel. If we're doing all of that, why am I splitting the offering with you? Why am I splitting the offering with you when you've already been paid? Again, to me, it just seems a little excessive. I'm not against them being paid, but she requires a black. Oh yeah, so I didn't even get into she wanted specific kinds of cars to drive around. She didn't want no white SUVs, no white trucks, no white this. It had to be a black this and that. Ridiculous. She had a whole bunch of ridiculous claims on top of her $3,000 and her splitting the offering 50-50. To me, that's excessive. That is excessive. Her team needs individual rooms. If I'm inviting you to preach at my conference, it's you and one other person. But I'm not using money that should be used to minister to the people to support your lavish lifestyle. I agree with you, Robin, on that. I totally agree with you. You, an assistant, why do you need 4 people? I mean, what all are you doing? And then I hate to keep going back to this. I mean, doggone it, you got $3,000. You can't fly one of them out here and tell them to sleep in the room with your assistant? I'm just saying. And so I just see a lot of us getting backlash. Hey, Sean, we get the backlash. They get the money. We get the backlash. They get the popularity. We get the backlash. Like, we have to live with a lot of the public perception of this. So, like, people think that's all church is about now because of situations like this. And it really hinders those of us that attend, like, grassroots churches. It hinders our ability to minister, our ability to move forward, because now everyone is so cautious. They think that we're only after the money. For example, my church, we feed, anyway, over the course of a year, we can feed anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 people a year for food, which on a large scale isn't that many people. But when you look at the amount of people that we have that attend the church, that's a really big thing. We do that here at the church, and a lot of times it's hard to get donations. It's hard to get people to come be a part because they think that we're going to be funding some type of conference where this is going to happen. This type of going on is going to take place. Most of the conferences that are church conferences, in my opinion, they could be just called revivals, because that's really all they're doing. They're not doing anything to really help the person become better. If they are doing financial management classes, they're offered during the day, where the people that could benefit from the most are at church. Are at work, So here we go. Like, if we had a conference this week, I wouldn't have been able to go to the conference during the day because I'm gonna be at work. So all the classes that could benefit me is being offered during the day. Well, then when we come nighttime, sure, I can come here and preach the word of God, but to me, these conferences aren't necessarily benefiting people anymore. I come to church on Sunday and hear my pastor preach, and I believe in the anointing. Please don't think I'm saying I don't believe in the anointing. I believe in the anointing of God. Hey, Shakima. I believe in the anointing of God, and I do believe prayer changes things. Between you praying and my pastor praying, what's the difference between you praying and the church mother at my church? I don't get it. I don't get it. Sometimes I think that we're furthering the abuse. She's getting beside herself because she knows she's a big name. I agree. Some of that comes with, that's a little arrogance working there. That's definitely not humility. Not humility. Is the focus the gospel or money? I heard her say once that she wasn't going to retire broke. So does she trust God to take care of her or not? It's damaging the body. Correct, Dr. Robin. It is really damaging the body. We have to call, and some are more than some do. Right, we have the call, and it does more harm than good, right? $3,000 will feed a whole lot of people. You're absolutely right. And I know, because we do feedings. If we had $3,000, do you realize how much we try to cover a city, so we call it the Care Tour. And if we had $3,000, we definitely would be able to tour Riverside County, at a faster rate than we're doing. It wouldn't feed everybody, but we definitely would cover more ground than we do. And I just totally, everything, there was so much good in what you said, Robin. What's happening is damaging the body as a whole. You are a minister. I am a minister. And it's hurting the everyday churchgoer. I didn't catch the beginning. Who is this woman we're talking about? Oh, we're talking about Juanita Bynum, Sean. Now, I want everybody to know I'm not attacking her ministry. I know that I believe she's a woman of God. I just think that there are some things that we need to discuss and reevaluate as a man, woman of God, as people of God. We've got to reevaluate this. And then a lot of us who are locally called to the ministry, we are receiving the negative end of what is going on with our sister Juanita Bynum. She's asking for $3,000, and because she's doing so in such a cutthroat way, we can't even go in and ask for compensations. For example, if I come to an event and I sing with my background singers and my band, there is a cost that comes along with that. But because of things like my sister Juanita Bynum is doing, I can't even go in and ask for just to cover the general cost of the band and the singers. You know, a lot of times I'm going home. I've basically paid to sing at your event because they have such a negative connotation of paying someone to render service because of people that have gouged the church. It's not because of the lack of quality. I make sure I minister in quality, and we live a life so that God can use us, but we are getting the negative backlash because of what our sister did. The Apostle Paul had a job. We have a call. I agree. For years, I did not work and preach. All I did was preach. And even then, I wasn't robbing Peter to pay Paul, or I wasn't trying to break the bank or whatever. I was doing all I could to keep things under control and as manageable. Now, the way I am, Sister Michelle, the way I am now, I don't want to work for the church in that manner ever again, simply because I don't like the fact that if I speak my opinion and you don't like my opinion, all of my income is gone. I would rather be able to stand on my own opinion. If this is truly how I feel, I'm able to stand on it, and I'm able to stand on it, be who I am, without, of course, backlash comes with anything, but I would rather my income not be totally, evaporated because I voiced an opinion that's not popular. Again, now that's how I stay. Even though I saw the video, I don't think she handled it well. She did more than tell her side. She spoke ill of the pastor. How did that play out in the eyes of those who are not saved and struggling in their walk? Yeah. Now, when we get off into her talking about him going into her room and everything, now I don't victim shame. I do not victim shame, but I do think she, in some areas, was kind of reaching. I do not think the pastor should have gone in her room. So Juanita Bynum was scheduled somewhere to preach. She went there to preach, and when she was away from the room, the pastor of the church went into her room, and she had all of her underwear laid out, and I guess, saw the underwear. Now he's saying he didn't see no underwear or whatever. Bottom line, in my opinion, this is Pastor Walter's opinion. He should have never went into the room. He has a wife. His wife could have went into the room. I still don't get the logic as to why he was in the room. That part, that's not an issue for me. And I don't think she handled it right. She got on Facebook crying. The way she was crying, I thought, I was waiting for her to say. And then when I got in the room, he was hiding in the closet or something. The way she started crying, I'm like, well, now, but there was really no. To me, she kind of went too far on that. Now, I don't victim shame, but to me, she kind of went too far on that. He should not have been in the room. But when I saw the writer and I saw how much she was demanding, and I saw, what she was demanding, the manner in which she was demanding it, she has to bring in her own sound tech. Now, these are things you wish you had. Now, I'm not going to lie. That's definitely the dream. I done been at many churches like I wish somebody would get back there and just work the sound. Somebody who knew what they were doing would get back there and work the sound. But, that comes the cost of you traveling and you deciding that you wanted to do what you're doing in a church. And most churches don't have professional sound people. Most of the people that's doing sound at the church, they're not professional. They ain't been to school. They ain't no sound tech engineer. They just back there volunteering because they love Jesus. And that's the name. That's the nature of the beast that you decided you wanted to, operate in. And that's just that just is what it is. You go places. Sometimes I travel with professional choirs and they back there having a whole hissy fit. Then you need to sing R&B. You need to go do something else. Because as long as you're traveling, singing in churches, you're going to have unqualified people doing stuff just because I'm back here operating the sound, not because I think I'm the bomb at it, but because I love Jesus and my pastor said somebody need to come back here and operate the sound. So I'm dedicated to this church. So I'm going to come back here and I'm push these buttons and I'm going to move this volume up because I love me some Jesus, and that's the nature of the beast you decided to be a part of. But she got her own sound tech traveling with her. I'm like, Jesus Christ is Lord. And I think this is twofold. We can't complain about the rider, but we're willing to accept it. So some people are willing to accept paying $3,000 in 4 rooms and all of that. But then there are those of us, I think that's excessive. So she probably would never be at an event that I'm doing unless we've already had this conversation. If you get $3,000, that's all you're getting. And we're going to take care of your travel and the travel of another person. But there goes the end of that discussion right there. And if that means I never can have me a Juanita Bynum, then that means your boy will never have a Juanita Bynum at his event, or anyone that have those type of demands. I'm quick to tell somebody what I can and can't do. I'm not going to break the church. I'm not going to bankrupt the church trying to be something that we're not. I believe that there are just as many anointed people rolling around here. I live in the city of Moreno Valley. My church is in Moreno Valley. It's many anointed people around here in Moreno Valley that can get us that same word of God at a more affordable rate. I'm just saying, something that we can function with as people of God. And it's not a matter of faith. People will say you don't have faith. It's not a matter of me not having faith. You got to have some common sense. Also, when it comes to this thing, there are some local preachers I'd pay before I pay. I absolutely agree, Dr. Robin. I absolutely agree. There's some local people that I would pay before I pay Dr. Bynum. I ain't even gonna get into I used to get into that. For those of you that know me, I used to be Pentecostal. I'm still Pentecostal, but I used to be like, oh Jesus. So, but all that hollering, after a while, I'll be like, look, I got a headache. It's time to go. Y'all done told us if we praise him, he was going to come through. And I don't think he coming tonight. We done hollered for about an hour. It's time to go ahead on and wrap it up. I heard them bring fire and seeing God move. Amen. I believe God definitely can move without all the fanfare. I absolutely believe that with my whole heart. I absolutely believe in God with my whole heart. So I think the general concession here is that she is asking for a lot. It feels like she is asking for a lot. And I think you all are agreeing with me that she is asking for a lot. And I think that we, as the public, should not be okay with that. There is one pastor, because this conversation has come up, I found out there's a national preacher that every time you have them come in, you got to pay to fuel their jet. You have to pay to have their jet fueled. And I think it's something to the tune of $30,000. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Can you say that? Ridiculous. A mess. Like, I'll give you a first class ticket. How about that? And that was a bit ridiculous for me to hear. And then I've heard other demands, some charging as much as $60,000 just to come and share the word of the Lord with the people of God. I believe men of God should be blessed. This is not me saying we shouldn't bless the man of God. But at what point do we say this is too much? Again, I know everybody's going to go and you're going to start talking about the CEOs of this company getting paid this much and the CEOs of that company getting paid that much and this, that, and the third. But we got to remember, like, you're preaching to churches that are built off the backs of, and I'm just going to say it. I know people don't like to proclaim it, but the church in many cases is built off the backs of poor people, struggling people. So I understand you wanting to be paid. But why so much is my question. Why so much is my question. And then you get somebody like me who understands this, and they won't. It's hard for me to get some. I understand. I've seen a few preachers log on, and I know they logged off. I know I'm going to be the topic of discussion for a minute. It's okay. I don't roll in them circles anyway. Why so much? Why so much? I understand, we want our preachers and our pastors to be blessed, and I have nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, but we've got to draw the line somewhere. The ministry should take precedent over the lifestyle of the preacher, the minister. Riverside Community, we sing for Jesus as came into the room every session. Right. Angel, right. I never give an amount. I'm grateful for what is given to me, even if nothing is given. I'm just about serving. I agree. Hey, Tiff. I'm grateful for opportunities, and I do believe a workman is worthy of their hire. So anyone I mentor, I tell them to make sure business is taken care of. But I also caution them against greed. And some of my mentees can go in and they can demand a pretty amount of money because they have the notoriety, they have the popularity, they have the anointing, they have the gifting. But at the end of the day, let's not forget, this ministry has to function after you leave. Let's not forget, they have to function after you leave. And then let's not forget, these people have came together, they pulled their resources for some type of vision. And we want this vision to be able to flourish even after you're gone. If this is the Woman Now Art Loose conference, I'm sure they want to be loosing women's women's. They want to be loosing women's after you're gone. If they're building a homeless shelter, they want to be able to build the homeless shelter after you're gone. Or are they going to raise the down payment and they got to give you the down payment because that's your requirement? Nope. I understand you raised $40,000, but 20 of that got to come to me. And when you think about it, that's kind of ridiculous to be paid $20,000 to speak for an hour. Now, I'm not talking about the AT&T execs and stuff. And I know y'all gonna get on here, if you're gonna pay Jay-Z $1,000 to speak, then you should pay me $1,000. No, come on, we gotta draw the line somewhere. Hey, Mama, how you doing, Moms? Glenda Lawrence, I love you. We've got to draw the line. I believe we got to draw the line somewhere. And it has to become, again, more about ministry than about lining someone's pocket. So, there's even local preachers. I love them, but we can't connect on a certain level because I'm not paying you $1,500 to come again, that it's difficult. It's difficult because I don't think $1,500 is a lot of money, but it is a lot of money if my church don't have $1,500 to give you. And hey, I'm not gonna go in debt to sow a seed, to sow a seed so that God can bless. If this is the vision that God has given us, then we're gonna operate. We're gonna move a course by faith. We're gonna move a course by faith. But again, after you leave, we still want to be able to put something towards the vision that God has given us, and we can't do that breaking you off $20,000 and $30,000. And they said I heard someone say that she has raised over $100,000 in one service. That's amazing, but the church, 50,000 of that is gone, according to what we just, read, came to understand. And, afterwards, the ministry still needs to function. Is the word different at 500 than 5,000? I don't know. You give me $5,000, I'm just playing. I'm so joking. For some, it may be. For some, it really may be. If you give somebody $500, they may preach you a little nice, cute word. If you give them $5,000, I've actually seen this in play. I've seen people go to churches. Hey, Robert. I've seen people go to churches where the church is only able to give them a couple $100, and they get up there and preach haphazardly and run into them at a larger ministry, and they walk in the pews, they laying people out in the aisle, they're hollering at the top of their lungs, preaching for at least an hour. You're getting a good solid word. I've seen this happen. I've seen it happen because in some cases money motivates people. And it's not, in my opinion, it should not be the motivating factor, but it is a motivating factor. Then that's not God, that's man. I agree, Dr. Spells. Dr. Robin. I totally agree. Well, I just wanted to get on here and see what y'all had to say on the good book. Yeah, that was it. I love each of you all with the love of the Lord. As always, I just want you to know, if you go with God, He will most certainly go with you. Be blessed. Pray for me as I pray for you.